Hi there. Welcome to Families Reunited. We are a deportee support group putting a spotlight on the negative psychological effects that deportation has on one's state of mind. My name is Robert Romano. I'm 32 years old, and I currently live in the country of Trinidad and Tobago after being deported from the United States after 28 years. I'm filming this broadcast from an organization called Vision on Mission located in Trinidad. It is a reintegration program for deportees and ex-criminals of Trinidad and Tobago. Sitting with me here is my good friend and fellow deportee, Mr. Gilbert. Gilbert, thanks for coming on board, man. Appreciate it, man. This is the serious project we're tackling, and I really appreciate the courage, commend you for your courage and strength to speak up for the truth about the hardship that you have been facing, and I myself have been facing since being deported to our country of birth after many years abroad. So I got a couple questions, brother, and basically I want you to answer in a very honest way where please don't sugarcoat. Just express how you feel, man. Good, bad, or indifferent. Just be honest with us, bro. I want the American public to know. I want the American government to know the extreme hardship it's been for us guys being deported after residing in the States for so many years, basically all of our lives. So I guess I'll start off with how long have you been in the country, Trinidad?
I've been in Trinidad now 1 year and 10 months.
1 year and 10 months. So that's a little bit of time over your head here already. How many years were you residing in the States before being deported here?
About 28 years. I went to the U.S. when I was 10 years old.
Oh my gosh. So you spent the majority of your life over there?
Yes.
How old are you again?
I am now 38.
38. So I'm no math whiz. So you were there when you was 10. You were 38. So you spent 28 years over there.
Yeah.
That's a long stint, man.
So really when I was 9 years old. So I came to the U.S. when I was about 9 years old. I'll be 39 this year in December.
So basically a child, basically a young child. I have common relations, but how has the transition been since coming here to a new culture after being gone for so long?
Well, it's been extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. I've experienced a lot of like culture shock, as well as depression and just hopelessness, not getting anywhere in life. And no matter how much I try, it's just been very difficult.
Yeah, I understand how you feel, and you're a man who lived, like, before you got your apartment down the street there. You're a man who has resided in the same complex as me, and I know you a little bit on a personal note. You have a good sense of humor and you show a good face, but I've seen you on your bad days, as you've seen me on my bad days too. Your transition here, I noticed you mentioned depression. Do you have any, have you tried to cope with that depression with any use of drugs or alcohol?
No.
Okay. Well, that makes one of us, because you know my history in this place, but that's good, man. I wish I had the same strength to avoid that, but that's a whole nother story. Many people suffering with depression tend to try to mask the reality of life or what it's come to, and I'm one of those people as well, currently working on my recovery, but I commend you for your strength for that, man. Good for you. Before you were deported, how long were you detained by U.S. immigration?
About 2 months and 3 weeks.
Okay, so almost 3 months. How was your time in there? What facility were you staying at?
I don't remember. I don't really remember, but like the name of the facility.
Oh, okay. Sorry, bro. But what state were you residing in?
Oh, Atlanta, Georgia. I was in the immigration there.
Okay, I was in Etowah County my last stay there, so that's not too far off. How was your treatment there regarding staff? Was the immigration staff, would they treat you with kindness, or at least general courtesy?
Mostly yes.
Okay.
Yes, in general they did treat me with respect. Um, there were a few instances um, where a few of them were rude,
Mm.
and I reported it. I reported the rudeness, and I
Okay.
told them, hey, look, this wasn't professional,
Mhm.
and I had a problem with it.
Mm.
And they corrected it by just saying, oh, well, we spoke to the officer, he won't be doing that again. And another instance was when they had chains on me.
Mhm.
When I sat down in the van, it was difficult for me to breathe, and I let them know that.
Mhm.
But they didn't care. So I basically had to lay down in the van with my uh, keeping my torso straight
Mm.
with my thighs so that I could breathe.
That's horrible, bro. It's horrible.
Yes, I had to do that because they didn't care. They were kind of teasing me and everything.
Right. Right.
Uh,
That's horrible. Did you make a report to any supervisors or wardens of any higher up staff members to make a report?
I considered it,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't want retaliation for something like that. I remedied the situation by just lying down in the van the whole time, the whole way I was going, the 2-hour drive
Mm.
to the immigration facility.
Okay. That's horrible. So you were scared that if you had made a report, you would have suffered negative repercussions.
Yes.
All right, I could understand that. I've actually been in a similar situation. Um, how was your How was your time amongst the other inmates? Was it strictly immigration, or was it a mix of county, local guys as well?
Yeah, it was. Most of the people that were there were pretty much, yeah, most of them were Spanish,
Mm.
Spanish people. One or two guys from Ethiopia, and
Mm.
one or two guys from Jamaica. I mean, everyone was. Everyone was okay. We pretty much stay out of each other's business, and
Mm.
you know, did our little commissary trade and all that stuff.
Right, right. Remember those days?
Yeah.
Little brotherhood, huh?
Yeah.
That's nice, man.
Of course, you're gonna have the disrespectful ones, the troublemakers, the ones, but they were quickly removed from the,
Mm.
when they brought trouble.
Right, right. Okay. That's good, man. You got along with a few brothers over there.
Yeah.
I feel the same. Um, while being detained, I know from my life of immigration detention, it was a serious hardship on my father because, like I mentioned to you, he was sick. I don't have any kids or a wife or anything like that. But on your side, was there anybody that was facing extreme hardship mentally because of your detention?
Yes, my my family, my siblings, my mother, especially my mother. Again, none of us thought that I was going to get picked up and get deported.
Mm.
Uh, after incarceration, they were all looking forward to me getting home, and
Mm.
we did all the hugs, and we went out and ate and everything.
Mm.
And then it was like it all started all over again.
Mm.
And they were angry at the government, and I was angry, and we didn't really expect it.
Right. Yeah. Unexpected. During that time of really adverse situation, darker times in your life. Did that predicament that you were in, did you have any thoughts of depression or suicide?
Yes, I have. Yeah, especially when I was in immigration, knowing that I was going to get deported. Um, and when the judge gave that deportation order, or whatever they call it, yeah, I was thinking of, yeah, I did have suicidal thoughts. As well as after deportation, when I got into the airport, I remember like my legs were shaking because I was like, wow, I'm gonna come out of this airport and I'm gonna be homeless. I only had $35 on me, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna be homeless. And I didn't know what to do after that. Until Vision on Mission, their van was in front of the airport to pick me up and take me somewhere to sleep.
That's something else, man. Thank you for being so courageous to share those dark thoughts, because I know sometimes society will shun that kind of thinking pattern, and it's a stigma, and sometimes we're often looked at as weak people for having those thoughts. But speaking from my personal experience too, I've actually had them as well, especially while being detained. It's probably the hardest trial I've ever been through, to be separated from my dad when he needed me the most, and not knowing if I was going to be deported or not. That was another, like, every day waking up not knowing. That's a mental burden in itself. But thank you for sharing, being bold enough to share those thoughts. When you were deported to Trinidad, how, the culture shock, obviously, did those feelings intensify as time went on? Were you able to cope? Did you feel relief from being out of immigration detention, or did things get worse mentally for you?
Okay, at first, yes, it was difficult to cope, and it still is. I mean, I feel that there's a language barrier between me and the Trinidadians because of the accent that they have. Um, Now, I'm not bashing the accent or anything. I just can't understand it. And it's because I've been in America for so long. And um, the only way I'm able to cope with it is to isolate myself, which is what I have done. Because I just can't get over that language barrier. I can't get over it. And how I interact with people, again, I don't interact. I even go to church and I don't interact. I don't talk. I mean, it's not just the language barrier, but it's also, I feel like I'm not a part of this. Like they don't want me to be a part of it.
I understand how you feel, Gilbert. It's a different culture and it's a different mentality, and I myself, despite what any birth certificate says, I do feel like an alien in my country
Yes.
of birth. But that's something that it's. This is why we started the deportation group, the support group, because we want the American public to know, and the government officials to know that um, the two of us here going through this hardship has been extremely difficult, but we're just two out of many thousands of people. This is one country out of several countries in the world that people are being deported after a substantial amount of residency in the U.S. or whatever country they're getting deported from. I mean, the United States is probably up there with like the number one of deportations, but there's still other countries deporting people as well, and that's a spotlight we want to be put on the negative psychological effects that deportation has on one. one state of mind. I noticed living with you at the facility, like I said, I seen the good in you, the good sides, and then the darker sides. I noticed you had a few falling outs with a few individuals, and certain times you were just enraged. Is that something that would happen to you in the States, or is that a new mental, I guess, how do you put it, mental burden, or a negative, is that a new negative emotion in this happier life, or is that something that you struggle with abroad as well? Like getting angry at people in an angry fashion. I've seen you, brother.
Yeah, but yes, my mother. I'll quote what my mother said. She said she's never seen me this way before. That this is another personality that just came out of me because of the frustration, the anger, and just the hopelessness. Um, that just it will not leave me, because it's like my life hasn't changed. It just got worse. You know, getting deported has plunged me into poverty. I mean, um, I had a good life in the United States. You know, I made a good living and everything, and then they brought me here, and I'm not anymore. And it did change my personality. I get angry and frustrated more easily. Um, and you know, I stay away from people more now,
I noticed
and I don't like I'm noticing, like in this country, I'm noticing from the islanders that a lot of discrimination and prejudice against me. So I mean, that's another reason why I pretty much stay away from people, and I don't like to talk. And I mean, I just all day I'll stay in the corner right there on my computer. It's just a way to get away from it, you know. So yeah.
Thanks, bro. You know, it's a tough thing, bro, because I felt it firsthand too. And I know you well enough now to know you're not an antisocial guy. You're very personable, sociable, got a good sense of humor, and it's not really about you just being a recluse. Naturally, I believe that this culture shock and how do you put it? Not being sociable with the locals, I guess, because of a different mentality or a prejudice held against you. I felt that firsthand. Sometimes you get the sneer in public just opening your mouth because you got the American accent. I felt that firsthand. That's the first thing coming to the country I noticed. It's like there's people, you can see the hate in their eyes when you speak. And sometimes you go to a cash register just to buy a soda, and you get attitude put towards you just for being polite and having an accent, and people are uncomfortable with it. I'm not going to sit here and say the whole country is against me or anything like that, because I met some of the nicest people here. But the overall majority, I can openly and honestly say that they don't like Americans. They don't like us for having the accent or coming from the land of opportunity. And I wish it wasn't like that, but unfortunately, that's the way it turned out to be. And I do understand that why you would want to be distant from everybody. I hope that subsides, and you find the good people in this country as I have. Weed out the bad and stick with the good, because there are good people in this country, but I know the prejudice being held against us Yankees, as they call us.
They call us Yankees.
You know what I mean, the Yankees. But that's been a tough, man. It really used to upset me, but I try to turn this negative situation and up my coping skills to just laugh it off. And if someone wants to be so small-minded to hold prejudice against you because you talk different, then that's their insecurity. So it wasn't always that easy for me to ignore it, but as time goes on, I'm getting better at it. But I don't like it just as much as you. But yeah, man, definitely interesting story that you have. Um, Let me ask you this, Gilbert. Did you enter the United States legally?
Yes, yes, I did. And I did get my green card in 1997, I believe. Yes. Yeah, so I came to the U.S. when in 1991 or 1992,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around there. And yes, in 1997 I received my green card.
All right. So, excuse me. So ultimately, to get into immigration detention, was there something regarding the illegality with your paperwork, and expiration of any paperwork, or was there any criminal activities involved that may have affected your immigration status?
It may have been the incarceration that I had prior.
Okay.
It may have been that because I mean during my incarceration, yes, my green card expired,
Mm.
but my papers expired. But I mean, obviously after incarceration, I was going to go and renew it,
Mm-hmm.
but they picked me up before I could even do that,
Right.
and um, I have people basically showing that they checked. Oh, he has no papers, and I mean that's not true, but ultimately it had to do with my incarceration.
So the two coincided.
Yeah, just a perfect storm kind of thing.
I could relate. I actually had a small marijuana charge from 2010 when I was 22 years old. Um, I was on my bicycle and I got pulled over at nighttime, and it was a real minute amount of marijuana. And that very little marijuana, I didn't know at the time, avoided me from cancellation and removal several years later. So, yeah, so I can relate to charges with the law that would affect you. I'm not proud to say it, and here we are in a day and age where it's becoming legalized over there. So that's something where it kind of irks me because I feel the same collateral damage from these things. But um, I know you said your green card expired and you were in the process of doing that, but you were detained. Um, Sounds like a little bit of everything, many straws that broke the camel's back, not one thing in particular. And I had that common relation too because I'm no angel. I have a few misdemeanors on my record. I'm not a felon. I don't have any crimes of sexual nature or anything devious. But there was questioning of my adoption that my father did with me. So I know firsthand what it's like to have this affecting this and a pile of crap getting really big because of all that stuff. But man, it's been a journey since coming here. Still standing, still got the spirit within, and I commend you for your courage to step up and show the public like this is a serious problem. And let me ask you this: there's one thing that you want the American government and people to know. That's the officials and the citizens regarding your deportation. What would you like them to know?
Uh, you you don't realize how much you actually hurt people when you deport them. I mean, not just mentally, but also uh, physically and financially. Um, I mean, it can really mess up it can really mess up your life. It's too devastating. It's too devastating. I mean, even though, okay, you've done your time, you pay a debt to society. I was going to go through the probation. I was going to do everything they asked me to do. But this is like ongoing punishment. It's like, I feel like you don't think that I actually paid my debt to society. That you want to punish me more.
I understand.
And that's what I'm going through, more punishment. And it's not fair because I did serve my time.
I feel the exact same way as far as those political views there's an old saying, you do the crime, you do the time, but why should you be separated from your family? Why should you be taken out of an environment that you grew up in? You're familiarized with the culture, the land, your loved ones, your friends, your ties, and I totally relate to that, man. I don't like that how you're being punished for every day. You got to wake up and live with this, and that's the beauty of this deportee support group, that we do have that common relation to what it feels like, and despite any smiles or jokes that we may make the best of it, we are suffering, and it's not right. I find it very inhumane deportation. I take immigration seriously, and my views on it, I don't believe that it's right for um, people to just dig a tunnel or climb a fence to get into a country illegally. But even when they do that, there's a reason for it, because they're running from some opposition or dictatorship or even torture in some countries. So as bad as illegal immigration is, there's a reason for that as well. Um, in our cases here, it sounds like paperwork and disruptions with the law, obviously, that the two coincide, and it started a bad ripple effect that caused a giant wave and took everything out. Um, Man, I can't thank you enough for your time, and I guess if I can ask you this, with everything that you've been through, facing deportation and living every day in your shoes as a deportee, would you want to or consider being an advocate for people currently facing immigration detention and deportation? Would you advocate for them on their behalf?
Yes. Yes, I would.
That's nice, you know. That's nice, you. I am too. You know, I mean, that's something I'm currently doing, and thank you for being willing to do that and support your brothers who are going to be facing the very same thing you're facing now, that you know firsthand what it feels like, and to be able to give support and admonishment. That's something really, really special, man. Um, I really appreciate your time. Is there anything that you'd like to say? Any questions that I haven't asked that you'd want me to cover? You know what I mean? I know I had my questions, but if there's anything that you'd want to address as well to our channel here, because like I said, we are in this together. I'm shooting you the questions, and I'm waiting for you to shoot me the questions so I can speak on mine. We'll do that the next one around, but if there's anything that you'd like to say to the American public, to the American government, to anybody that will be watching this broadcast, feel free to speak on the record, man. You know what I mean? Feel free. Um,
Oh, no, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. That's,
all right, Paul, man. Well, I can't thank you enough for your time, man. I know you're only here till tomorrow, and that's when I wanted to capitalize on this moment to get your time and your testimony to the real life drama, stress, and negative psychological effects of deportation. Um, we're hoping from these videos that we can broadcast and put a spotlight on the negative psychological effects with many more deportees to come. This is one interview of many, and we look forward to the future Families Reunited, to get our stories out there to the American public and hopefully gain support. That's the main mission as well, is to gain support from the American public along with the American government. We want immigration to know that. I don't know how you feel, Gilbert. I love America. I love the lifestyle. I love the culture.
Yeah.
I just don't like the immigration policy that affected my life. I have nothing negative to say about America in the sense that it's a bad country or government or anything like that. The only thing that bugs me about America is the strict immigration policy. One more thing before we end. With the new, obviously we know Donald Trump was a man of zero tolerance regarding any immigrants, veterans alike. Being that Mr. Joe Biden is a new president and his administration I know I have hopes of immigration policy being a little bit more lenient and laws being put in place for guys like me and you to petition to come back to live a life of where we grew up. Do you have any hopes of the Joe Biden administration that you can potentially get back one day to live the life you were meant to be?
A little hope, a little hope, because I mean, I don't really know if immigration is the same. If they're strict, if they're, yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I can't really tell because I haven't really tried. So.
Good answer. You never know what you can do till you try. I'm just scratching the tip of the iceberg regarding everything I'm doing with my immigration side, but I do know from what my network says that he is trying to put things in place for guys like me and you to have a way to petition to come back, and that alone gives me hope. And when you're going through serious hardship, a little bit of hope goes a long way. I feel a little bit emotional myself right now because this is a serious thing, man. This is a real serious topic. These are our lives, and to have a little bit of hope, man. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to wake up and just have that little possibility of maybe there's a chance to get back. You know what I mean? It gives you a reason to get up, because without hope, you don't have faith. Without faith, you don't have life. And that's simple as that. I've overcome dark thoughts. You've overcome dark thoughts, and I want you to keep pushing forward. Fight the good fight. Keep your fire of faith burning strong, and thank you for working with me on this project. I really, really appreciate your time, brother, and I appreciate your honesty and open-mindedness, man. It's been a pleasure, bro. Thank you much, man. I know we've got to get to bed. It's been a long day, so let me shut down the tape here, and tomorrow's a new day. Praise God.